Why don't we go with that first? Because that is the ugly incident. Ryan Reaves has been suspended 5 games.
Yep.
The NHL sure got on that quick, and it's one of those suspensions where everybody's like, yeah, that seems about right. Could have been less, could have been more, but I saw that. I was like, yeah, it's probably 5 games, man. Mm-hmm. That's what 5 games looks like.
It's one of the first times I've ever seen something without seeing the replay and been like, well, that's 5.
Yeah.
Because it just worked out perfectly where Nurse is coming behind the net and the camera had switched to the one in the corner. Reaves flies in from off screen and you could tell it's all head. Jesse, do you have that picture that I sent this morning?
It's in the text chat if you can get it.
Yeah. It's crazy. It illustrates how flush to the head it was. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe Darnell Nurse, I called him Nick in the video.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Heat of the moment.
I don't know. There's a few prominent people in sports named Nurse, and I said the wrong one. This is crazy. This is one of the craziest sports photos I've ever seen. Look at Nurse's his skates are facing perfectly towards the Leafs end. His face, his nose are looking behind him. He's like an owl.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read anywhere that he's been diagnosed with anything. Like they haven't said what his injury is. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, the concussion seemed obvious. There's no way he doesn't have a neck injury. There's no way. This is the most flush I've seen a player get hit in the head in a long time. I don't think Reaves meant to do it. And I think we really need to reset how we talk about these incidences. Because, was there intent from Reaves to hit Nurse in the head? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And even if you do think so, you can't prove it. Should Nurse have had his head up? Yes. You can't lay this hits. You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
If you're lower, you can.
If you're lower, you can. The vast majority of people I saw were very reasonable about this, but there's a few stragglers like there's always going to be. Keep your head up is good advice because sometimes people are they're going to hit you illegally. It's great advice.
Yep.
But no reputable league is going to be like, well, because you forgot to keep your head up on this play, it's just okay to fucking take your head off.
It's crash avoidance, but in the responsibility is always the one that lays it, right? Yeah. Like the one that lays the hit is the one that is responsible. And I think the NHL looked at it like that. I think most people, unless you're a lunatic, like really, unless you're one of those people on Twitter that's trying to farm engagement and you're just I'm going to do this, hit send.
Yeah, just an ass.
I think we all kind of get that. And I think, Reaves went right to the dressing room afterwards, apologized.
Yeah.
And
he's not a monster.
Well, of course not. And I think at the end of the day, NHL is a small community. Reaves was on the ice, and they said it on the broadcast. He was on the ice. The Oilers, I believe, had just scored. You're trying to bring some energy, and you're trying to be a factor in the game. And Ryan's got one or two ways he can do that, and he's not doing one of them. He hasn't fought this year.
Yeah. He hasn't thrown a hit like that in a while.
Yeah.
He's heavy on the boards. And his main focus as a Leaf this year, and this is what's kept him in the lineup, is Berube inserts that line into the offensive zone. They rarely have to get it there. It's just already there. And he keeps it in there. And he does a good job of that, but holy
Jesse,
shit. That's one of the craziest sports photos I've ever seen.
Jesse, you were at the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was the reaction in the arena?
It was silence. It was you could hear a pin drop when the hit happened because you could see how hard Nurse hit the ice, and there was serious concern, I think, amongst all 19,000 people there that something was the stretcher was going to come out because it looked that bad in real time. And initially, like personally, I was really upset that Ryan Reaves laid the hit, because I thought the fourth line this season has been so good for the Leafs that with him on it, not even when he swapped out, and I know they mix it up sometimes, but he's been very good there, and I thought he's been great. And then to see him go there, and initially in real time, it looked so dirty. It looked intentional. It looked like he was trying to take this man's head off because he made such clear contact with the head. It was perfectly square to Darnell Nurse's head. Yeah. And in real time, it felt targeted and dirty and awful. And it looked like he was trying to end this man's career. And I was pissed because I was like, what are you doing? You're having such a good time this season, not fighting, but being effective fourth liner. Yeah. Why are you wasting your career with this nonsense? But then afterwards, Darnell Nurse gets up and gets a round of applause from the benches, from the crowd, which that's what you want in that moment. You just want the guy to skate off, not under his own power, but at least with the help, and not have the stretcher roll out, which was great. And then you see the replays and you're like, okay, Ryan Reaves expected Darnell Nurse to come around the boards and not come out behind the net, and that's where he was going to hit him, is what I took away from that, and some of the commentary around it, is that he didn't expect Nurse to be this far up the ice.
So a sharper turn?
Exactly. No, a longer turn. Longer turn, like around the back instead of coming right out by Skinner. So that's kind of where the missed time hit comes into play, and you realize that the intent wasn't to take off the man's head, so it's not as dirty as it was in real time, and that you can't do this at all, but at least we know Ryan Reaves isn't an evil man trying to end Darnell Nurse's career.
Right.
And like, I think what a lot of people don't understand is you don't need to be an evil man, like, to deserve, like, fully deserve a 5 game suspension. He was essentially suspended 6.
Yes. The non-intent doesn't take away from the punishment that you deserve. Like, I'm not taking away from it. He deserves the 5 games.
And 3 career suspensions, 2 of them post-COVID, right?
Mm-hmm. He got a playoff suspension of multiple games, which is a rare thing.
It's hard
to do.
That means,
according to the Colin Campbell, it counts for 2. So he was technically suspended 4 games.
I mean, welcome to the Leafs, Ryan, because it is hard to do. But like, Clifford got 1, Bunting got 1. Probably, I don't know about deserved on Clifford. Maybe 1, but we've already done that. Bunting deserved it.
Yeah. So the fact that Ryan Reaves got it as a Vegas Golden Knight, it means a lot. Yeah.
He's probably lucky with that history. One of them being a check to the head. Mm-hmm. That was September 2020, during that weird little bubble. I was surprised the hearing wasn't in person.
Do you want to listen to? I think we all kind of knew it was going to be 5 games. I think that was the initial reaction.
Well, didn't Morgan Riley have an in person?
Yeah, I think it was. Was it not in person? But they sometimes they don't go. You don't have to. You do a video.
You just have to offer the in-person suspension, and they don't have to take it.
I think they offer.
As long as you offer, then they can suspend you as many as you want. Do we want to listen to the NHL Department of Player Safety's explanation of the suspension? Here it is. We can't play it, but here's the audio. Sure, we're on my high-sticking history.
Saturday night in Toronto, Maple Leafs forward Ryan Reaves was assessed a match penalty for delivering an illegal check to the head of Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse, causing an injury. As the video shows, Nurse gathers the puck behind the net and skates up ice, as Reaves pursues from the net front on the forecheck. Reaves closes in on Nurse as he rounds the net and delivers a high, hard check that cuts across the front of Nurse's body, missing his core and picking his head, making it the main point of contact on a hit where such head contact was avoidable.
So just on the video we're watching, do you see where Nurse came out and he kind of took a sharp turn up the ice?
I think I see what you're going.
Ryan Reaves was anticipating him coming out of the corner over
on
here.
On the Shelby's side.
And hitting. Yeah, you can bring up this still. Nurse was supposed to come around the boards and not cut into the middle. That's why the timing is so painful, because Ryan Reaves is going full speed to the corner, but Nurse comes out and cuts him off halfway.
He gets him in like the ear.
Oh
man, it's so bad.
So we can finish the video.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I cut it off just to explain what I was talking about.
This is an illegal check to the head. It is important to note that both elements of the illegal check to the head rule are satisfied on this play. First, the head is clearly the main point of contact. as Reeves' shoulder makes direct and forceful contact with Nurse's head, and it is the head that absorbs the vast majority of the force. Second, the head contact on this check is avoidable. Reeves mistimes this play, choosing an angle of approach that cuts across the front of Nurse, missing his core and making his head the main point of contact. And while we understand that Nurse is in the process of playing the puck, he does not materially change the position of his head or body just prior to contact in a way that contributes to the head being the main point of contact. If Reeves wants to deliver this check, he must take an angle of approach that hits through Nurse's shoulder and core, rather than one that picks the head, making it the main point of contact. To summarize,
Key points.
this is an illegal check to the head. Nurse suffered an injury on the play. Reeves has been suspended 3 times and fined twice
there it is,
during his
history.
893
and fined twice.
NHL career. The Department of
Oh, get that off. There you go.
Player Safety has suspended Ryan Reaves for 5 games.
Yeah. I mean,
They got it right.
yeah. I mean,
Got it right.
How often are you hearing me like, yeah, they could have given the Leafs more?
Now, I don't know if you have this rant in your chamber or if you even want to do it today. But some of the discourse I saw from Leafs fans is, yes, they got it right, but they always get the Toronto suspensions right.
Yeah.
I assume you saw this as
I'll
well.
listen to that.
And that it's the other ones where they don't get it right, and that's where the players get to skirt these suspensions.
For me, this one's different. Like I'm trying to think of examples where, okay, Kadri in the playoffs against the Bruins, we can agree shouldn't have done those things. They also didn't fall out of the sky, and the refs very intentionally let that game get out of hand. Kadri was also suspended for not an amount of games.
Till the end of the series.
Which has, when has that ever happened?
I don't know of any other.
When did it happen before?
And has it happened
When
after?
when has it happened since?
Yeah.
You want to talk about the Leafs rule book? They made that shit up. Completely made it up. And then he got suspended again when he was with Colorado. Was it for the rest of the series against the Blues? No, they gave him an amount of games because they're a league. Like, what the anyway, that pissed me off. Spezza to me was, see, there's one where you go, well, there's intent, right? So the 6 games that I think was reduced to 5 is, again, it's justified, but it's like, all right, if that's the standard going forward, it's not. It's not. Spezza over 1,000 games in the NHL or 1,000 games in the NHL, whatever it is. It's not.
It was a flying knee, though.
It was bad. It was really bad. And then
flying knee.
And then, okay, counter argument, Sam Bennett exists.
Yeah.
So there is no justice or hockey god.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so there's that. Bunting. Again, like, how many times have the Leafs in recent memory had the longest or tied for the longest suspension of the playoffs?
It's been a lot, but here's the thing. If we're going to have that discussion, I don't think this is the time to have it.
And that was going to be my next point is, they could have given him, I think we start to have that discussion if the suspension's like 8.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
5?
I could even see 6 games for this, because if you saw what Perron got on
wouldn't
Artem
have said
Zub
shit.
last year, I'd have been like, yeah, 6 games. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 6 games, the NHL is sort of set as their bar for, this is if
Heinous.
you play the dumbest hit of the season. And the 10 or mores, or, well, 8 or mores, I should say, because Kadri, I think, got 8 playoff games, which is insane. The 10 or mores are for, like, repeat offenders. We're talking Raffi Torres, Matt Cook, and he's just not that. Like, he hasn't been suspended for 3 years. He does have 3 suspensions and 2 fines, but he hasn't been suspended for 3 years. And for the NHL, they're like, well, that's a lot of games. Okay, fine. I understand the feeling, Leafs Nation. This ain't it.